Gather round. It's time for your Real Estate Chalk Talk with the Hittner Group at Coldwell Banker Burnett.
Hey, welcome to the program. It's your Real Estate Chalk Talk, broadcasting from the Rack Shack Barbecue Studios. I'm Keith Hittner Sr. Keith Hittner Jr. is at my side, along with the money man, Kelvin Kaemingk. He's keeping us on top of home financing trends and tips on how to get the best home loan deal. Call Kelvin directly, 651-231-2500. Check out our show website, realestatechalktalk.com, as a resource. Lots of tools and vendors you can call us directly to, 612-627-8000. Don't forget it's party season, so call the Rack Shack Barbecue Catering Hotline. And that number is, get your pencils ready, 612-326-0430. A lot of phone numbers there, so you always got to start out the show with a pen in your hand. To order your holiday party banquet and feed your guests mouth-watering smoked meats, signature sides and sauces, it's all at a really low cost. Easy to do. Just give Elliot a call. Again, 612-326-0430. He'll help you create your menu at a price that works in your budget. Remember, Rack Shack Barbecue is America's food, and it's the right thing to do. You know, in studio this week, we got an old-timer on the show. He's been on many, many times. Fritz Taylor, key agent with the Hittner Group. We're going to be talking with Fritz next segment, finding out what's up with him and why someone would want to work with him. Keith,
Good morning. We'll figure that
That's
out.
an endorsement.
We've been looking for that answer for a long time, but he's doing well with the team. So.
Keith Reno, what do you got for us this week?
This week, actually, Kelvin had a couple of questions for us this week. We were talking before the show. It's always fun to bring those questions to you. So, Kelvin.
Well, I'm going to be talking about this week the worst day in the bond market since 2013. We're going to touch on a gentleman by the name of Mario Draghi.
Good old Mario.
Good old Mario. Let's see how he impacted the markets. We're going to talk about the November jobs report, and we can get into some good questions right now that we had from last week. First, I want to touch on with you, Mr. Keith Hittner Sr. Trump rises in the polls from 25% to 27%. Rubio up to 17%. Cruz 16%. Carson drops to 16% from 23% on the latest polls. Impact, what do you see happening?
So you've got, what are the top four contenders right now?
Trump, Rubio, Cruz, Carson.
Okay, so the same guys have been at the hovering around the top, mixing it up for the last actually 2 months, with Ben Carson being the loser of that fight. I think that he's going to continue to fade away now. Carson will.
Do you?
Yeah, once we get past Iowa, that's my own prognostication. Once we get past Iowa, he'll probably just fade away a little bit, and I think you'll see Rubio and strengthen a little bit. I think you're going to see Trump is going to hold his position and maybe pick up another, once we get past Iowa and get into some of these other key states, into Super Tuesday or whatever it is. I think you're going to see him doing really, really well, and I think the Republican establishment is almost as terrified of that as the Democrats.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because they want their good old boy in there. They want their network guy in there. The ones that they've been promising for the last 20 years. Do what we tell you to do. Pay your dues, and you'll be up to bat. And all of a sudden, you got this guy coming in from left field who doesn't give a dang about any of them.
Right.
And telling it like it is, and the American public is ready to hear some straight talk.
Straight talk, but I don't think he'll get the nomination. Do you? In the end?
I don't know why wouldn't he?
Because he can't sustain the consistency in.
I mean, people have been saying that about him
Who's
for
gonna-
almost a
who's
year
gonna-
now.
Yeah, who's
So-
going to shut him down?
Yeah.
I think you're going to see Cruz go after him. I think you'll see Rubio go after him a little bit more.
I don't think so. I think they're all afraid of him, number one. Number two, I think what you're going to find is that Rubio and Cruz are going to be jockeying for the number two
VP?
spot or cabinet positions.
I don't know. I can't imagine Trump gets the nomination in the end.
I don't
because
know
he
why wouldn't he?
Because you don't want him to.
Yeah,
well,
I think
because
that's
he
what it is.
continually insults everybody and
Yeah.
makes a mockery of people
And
makes fun of.
and his points go up.
Yep. So make fun of reporters who are disabled.
He
Make
didn't.
fun.
He didn't do that. That's a straight up lie.
Is it?
Yes, you must have been listening to
Fox News?
CNBC.
No, I was watching Fox News.
If you watch the transcript and then watch the actual footage that they have,
Right.
you can see that was just a very carefully selected set of words there.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think he carefully selects many words.
No, but I'm saying the media did.
Did you watch
Because-
it, Kelvin?
I saw the rerun of it,
Okay.
and then I saw some commentators talk about it. On
They're
Fox,
really-
on Fox,
they're-
actually.
Do you
Fox-
feel
and
that he
Fox-
was do you feel he was mocking? We've never talked about this. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just another thing that goes in the book against, in my mind, goes against that he just
no
doesn't
question,
use
because
good
people,
judgment.
Here's the deal: people read headlines, right?
Yeah.
People don't read the entire email.
Right.
Senior is notorious for reading first lines, right?
Yeah.
Most people do it. They're busy,
Yeah.
so they read the headlines and say, "Oh, look at that jerk,"
Mhm.
you know. But if you actually
I
watch
think that was kind of a backhanded.
It was
just
a
kind
little-
of
it was a compliment.
A little nudge under
'Cause
my
you're all-
armpit there. Poking the
you're, what was I saying?
Sorry.
I watched it, right?
Okay.
And
What'd you think?
if he's truthful in what he's saying, and he seems to be very truthful, Donald Trump.
Mhm.
Forthright,
Brutally so.
straightforward.
Mhm.
I watched the video. It doesn't look like he's mocking anybody. When you put them up next to each other and say, "Look, well, this is what this gentleman looks like. These are his mannerisms. Look at Donald Trump." But if he says, "Look, I don't know who the guy is. I've never seen him before. So we've had a cup of coffee. I don't know who he is," and he's just kind of mocking reporters in general,
Mhm.
and then to just single out this guy he was talking about and saying he knew who he was, and I don't know. I could see how both sides might spin it, but
Mhm.
to me, it looks like he was just kind of making fun of reporters in general, and they use that as ammunition.
I do
Yeah.
too, because I think the media is almost as afraid of Trump. It's a love-hate deal.
Mhm.
They love to have him on because their ratings all go up,
Yeah.
but they know that there's a price to pay for that.
Mhm.
And they also like the staid and true politician because the media has more control over them. They know how to manipulate the politicians to make them say what they want to say, and they can bring pressure to bear to bring them to their points of view, right or left. And Trump just isn't that guy. You know, he's not going to be bullied.
I just don't see how Hillary Clinton's going to be. I can't imagine how folks would vote for Hillary Clinton after everything she's been through over the last 2 years. I just don't understand it. People will still do
They
it,
will.
but I just don't understand it. Can we move on from politics
can,
now?
we can.
This week we're going to talk a little bit about Apple Valley. Apple Valley is a community in the South Metro. We'll talk about the history of Apple Valley. Senior has a lot of ties back a long time ago to Apple Valley, so we'll ask him how that's evolved there, and we'll also talk about some down payment assistance that's available in Apple Valley and in Dakota County. But Kelvin, we also have some questions from folks that called in last week. Yeah.
We did, yeah. One was an interesting one. I was talking to a gentleman, and he said, "Hey, I heard you guys talk about the fact that you get more when you sell, pay less when you buy. Can you explain that to me?" And I said, "That's a great question." Gave him my take on it, sent it over to you guys, but just kind of, you guys talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's a headline we talked about last week that he was referencing, which was how people are getting about 96% of the listing price and all that. So talk a little bit about how you guys get, pay less when you buy.
So that number, 96%, is actually a little
Yep.
bit lower. As we go into the winter season, that number will go down. Throughout the year, that number changes, and that's throughout the MLS. Homes that have sold for X amount of asking price, and a lot of times it's not initial asking price. They're looking at the price that it was based on the price that it sold when it was listed. What we look at is our numbers based on what we initially list the house for and what we sell it for, and we find that we outperform the market every time on selling your home on the market. So we take a lot of care in preparing a house for sale. We talk about homes that aren't on the market yet, and we'll get into that conversation because it ties into it greatly. We have homes that are listed right now that aren't going to go on the market until February, March, and in that time frame, we're spending a lot of time and effort to prepare the house for sale. We're not putting the onus of that all on the seller and saying, "Hey, call us when you're set to go." We take a hands-on approach to that in preparing the house for sale with our specialized vendors that we use to do some staging, do some painting, do some carpet where we need to update some of these things in the house to help prop the value up on a cost-effective level to get the most money we can when we present it to the market. A lot of the care that goes into pricing the home properly too, it's so important. And sellers all the time, not all the time, but most of the time, they want to test the market, right? See, well, what if maybe we can get this. We encourage them strongly to put the house on the market for what the market dictates the house is worth, and we have a lot of information to go to do that. And it's an all-encompassing approach a very hands-on approach to making sure we dial the numbers in, dial the property condition in, and then the presentation as well, the marketing of that property. How do we best present your house?
What that all means to the seller then, and we measure it, I'm a CPA, so I tend to be a bean counter. We measure our performance always against the MLS. So we have the statistical records of facts from the MLS. Our group has achieved and demonstrates better results. We beat the MLS by about 4.8%. When measured, and we do this annually. We look at the results of our year and how it compares. That means to the average seller about $11,000 more in their pocket if we do the property, if we sell the house, than if the guy next down the hall or from another company does it. So we're pretty proud of that. We're very jealous of it. So we make sure that we're always doing what we're supposed to do when we're supposed to do it to get the best results for the seller.
We'll be right back.